hello. Welcome once again to Speakeasy with Paul F. Tompkins. I am still Paul F. Tompkins, and you will recognize my guest this time out not only from the television series Firefly and its subsequent movie adaptation, Serenity, but also from Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Please say hello to Summer Glau. Summer, hello.
Hello.
Cheers, thank you for being here.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Take a little sippy. I want everyone to know we are drinking Shirley Temple's. That's quite.
That one's strong.
as Shirley Temples go, that is a strong one. It's heavy on the grenadine. Because you are a pregnant lady.
Yes.
You're just about as pregnant as one can be without having a baby.
Yeah, I'm like, this is 8 months. 8 months pregnant. So,
wow.
So thanks for inviting me because it's been a while.
It's been exactly 8 months since you've been in a bar.
Yes.
Your character River was pretty much very central to the mythology of the show, and was the catalyst kind of for everything from the pilot on. Like a lot of it revolved around, well, it's true, right? Like a lot of it revolved around trying to hide River from various horrible creatures. Did you know what you were getting into when you signed on for that job?
I didn't know how to stand on a mark when I signed up for that job. Right. I had done one other guest star spot before I was cast.
Angel, right?
On Angel. Yeah. It was so funny because I had been a dancer my whole life and was trying to transition into acting because I had injuries that just weren't healing.
Yeah.
And so when I first started, I was told by my team to downplay that I was a dancer so that I would be taken seriously as an actress. So it was funny that I got cast as a ballerina. I missed the dance audition, totally missed it.
Right.
Snuck into the callback, met Joss, got cast, and ended up getting to dance Giselle on national TV when I never danced it in real life. So
right.
that was my introduction. And then I went in and I tested for Firefly, and it was a crash course which worked perfectly with the role itself. Because River was such a mess and such a live wire and very unpredictable and not unlike myself at that time. I made a lot of embarrassing mistakes, but it was the best set to be on for that time of my life. It was a very safe place to try things.
So a very nurturing, learning environment.
Yes.
And surrounded by it seemed like an extremely solid cast of people. I've had occasion to meet various of them over the years, and to a person, they all seem very grounded and very happy to be doing what they're doing. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better at that point, but I was told not every set is like this, and it's true.
Right. And I'm sure you've had occasion to work with all sorts of actors over the years.
I have.
And is it? I mean, it can be tough if you feel like you kind of got spoiled by your first time out because you get out in the real world and it's like, oh, you people aren't like a family.
I know. It was devastating when I first. Plus, I went from being that struggling actor that's having to worry about every little bill that goes out to being on a series regular on a show, which is just a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And feeling safe and not having to worry and being able to go on set and experiment and play and be creative and then it was your first experience with getting canceled. And I thought that was the end. I thought, well, it's nice knowing you, Hollywood.
You really thought I'll never work again.
Yeah, I did.
What are the odds? Yeah.
And so it was an education and just a beautiful opening chapter for the rest of my career.
You were pretty young when you realized you weren't going to be able to dance anymore. I mean, not that you can't move at all anymore, but that, it's an art form that takes its toll on the body like no other art form does. And you really only get a limited amount of time to do it. Even if you have a long career, there's only so much time that you're able to continue to do it.
It's true.
How old were you when you realized I'm gonna have to figure something else out here.
20.
And I mean, that's extremely young.
Yes.
To have a life-changing, a life-changing turning point like that.
But I remember my 15th birthday, I treated it like it was my funeral. When I was so serious about, it was my whole life, ballet.
Mm-hmm.
And
from when you were a little kid, right? Like you've been studying
I started
forever.
when I was 5.
Yeah.
So on my 15th birthday, I was super dramatic. I was like, well, it was nice while it lasted, and my parents were trying to figure out, how can we celebrate with this very morose teenager? Because I was, ballet especially, your body just gets really worn down fast, and I had this feeling that I might somehow end up being an actress, but I never tried it, and. I joined a class soon after that. It might have been like 16 or 17, but it was a class that took place in a jazzercise studio, and it was for shy people who had a hard time speaking in public.
Really?
Yes. And it was me and a bunch of adults. And that was my first experience with acting, and the teacher was incredible. She used to be a professor at University of Miami, and she was just a powerful, dynamic actress, and that was my first spark of interest. And I ended up through that class, there was a playwright, and he wanted to use me in his play, so I was doing it on the sly, and.
What do you mean?
Well, I didn't tell any of my dancer friends. Yeah, it was a secret. It was very romantic at the time to me.
Right.
I was doing this secret play.
Did you tell anyone? Did anyone know? Your parents?
My parents.
Right.
My parents. And I had the script all laid out on the floor, and the phone rang. I picked the script up, and I ran and I jumped over. We had this camel saddle in our living room. And I ran into the fireplace and broke my toe.
Oh.
But then I had to keep dancing on it broken for so long because I didn't want anybody else to have my roles.
And the only way, if you break a toe, the only way that heals is you just put some tape on it and you just wait for it to stop being broken.
Right.
Which I imagine it won't stop being broken if you're putting all of your weight on it on a regular basis.
Right.
Okay. I'm not a doctor, by the way. It's just a lucky
No,
guess.
but you sounded like you knew what you were talking about.
I wear a tie.
So yeah, I didn't want to give up, so I just kept dancing on it broken. But then it kind of wrecked my whole foot after a while. So anyway, I quit the play and I kept dancing, and then eventually I decided to give it a real go.
You're like cemented in this pop culture world. Where is it just conventions all the time? I'm sure you get a million offers to do conventions and things like that.
I got my passport for a convention. That's how much it changed my life.
That was your first time out of the country?
Yes.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Where was that convention?
London.
There we go. Fantastic.
It was magical. It was amazing. Joss tried to explain it to me before I had gone, and you can't explain it.
No, you really can't, right?
No.
Because it really is its own very specific thing. And people are so happy to see you.
Yes.
And they can't believe that they're seeing you. And, what was the point at which you felt like you got used to that?
I'm still waiting. It's never normal.
Yeah.
The whole experience is very surreal. Mm-hmm. And every once in a while I have fan moments when I'm there. Mm-hmm. I loved Star Trek: The Next Generation mm-hmm. growing up. It was my ticket into my parents' bed. Like at 10 o'clock at night, I would always conveniently not be able to sleep, so I could, mm-hmm. and I would ask them if I could watch it. And I remember one. It was maybe like 5 years ago. I was doing a convention in, I believe it was Atlanta, and the whole cast was there. And it was like an out-of-body experience for me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't talk.
Just seeing them there all together, yeah.
Yes, yes. And then I got to talk to them and take pictures of all of them and go out afterwards. That was like a moment mm-hmm. for me. But they never. It always amazes me. Every time I go to one, I tell myself it might be over. They might not remember you anymore. And if you are fortunate enough to be one of their actors, they can really support you through all these different phases of your career, and have just been an invaluable part of the process for me.
Did that, because I think the fandom was pretty quick on Firefly, even though it had such a short run. But did that kind of help you between that job ending and the next job coming along?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and they got our movie made. I just believe that they willed it into existence, and that was a miracle, having such a short TV life turn into a film.
Yeah.
So.
In a relatively short amount of time, too.
Yes.
Because the first Star Trek movie didn't happen until a few decades after that show went off the air.
That's true.
Your mom was a big sci-fi fan, right? Well, she, like when you were a kid, she would read sci-fi?
Yes, that's right.
And you developed a love for it from then.
I did. I really feel like it shaped my imagination. She read all the Hobbit series to us, and Madeleine L'Engle and C.S. Lewis, and that was our favorite thing, was to listen to her read those stories to us. So, and I was a little far out because I was a homeschooled kid, and spent most of my time performing, and so I had a really active imagination and maybe an altered reality, and so sci-fi really works with me. It really works for me.
Somewhat of an abrupt change when you are playing a Terminator. Did you feel ready to do that at the time?
No. I tried to skip the audition. My mom just told me, get your rear end into that audition. I saw Chris Dunaloken. I thought they wanted a 6-foot beautiful model. I thought they would laugh at me. At the 11th hour, I took my sides in, and I went in and I auditioned thinking that this would be one of those that you just try to forget as quickly as possible. And luckily, it was just the right room. The creative team, the creator of the series, Josh Friedman, I had been a fan of his. I didn't realize it was his show until I got into the room and saw him. And it was just the right fit. It was tricky in the beginning to play a robot. It was the complete opposite of River, who is so expressive and unpredictable and
all about emotion and
Right. So that took some planning and some practice, but I grew just as attached to that role, and loved every minute of it.
Did it affect you in the way that taking that class all those years ago affected you? Playing that role, were there things that you learned about yourself, or things that you were able to maybe use from playing that character?
Well, I feel that the physicality of because Cameron was not a good communicator, I felt that I used my physicality.
That's a good way to put it. She was not a good communicator.
She's very cold and hard to relate to.
Didn't make it easy. Didn't make it easy.
I felt bad for my scene partners. But, so I tried to find ways to physically embody her first, and that was kind of like my key into that character. By the end, I felt very attached to her, and I tried to find vulnerability and relatability in that character, even though she was a robot.
Currently, you're on a web series called Jeff 1000.
That's correct.
Whom do you play? You certainly don't play the titular Jeff.
Yeah, I'm not playing the robot this time. I'm trying something different.
Yeah.
I'm playing Summer Glau.
Or you play yourself on the show.
I do, a version of myself.
And Jeff 1000 is a robot who used to make cars, and then he decided, you know what? Life is short. I'm gonna break into showbiz.
Yes, not unlike my own story.
Right. Is this based on your life?
No, I've never worked at an automotive plant yet.
But it is the ballet of assembly line jobs.
True. He comes to LA just to start a new life. That he gets downsized, and it happens. And so he decides to take a chance. And when he comes to LA, he finds work in showbiz. And so we become friends. And it's a really, really funny day in the life of these two characters living in LA and trying to make it.
Was it always you in the script?
Well, it was sort of a collaboration. Legacy had this amazing robot, and Wired wanted to create a story for it, and I have worked with the writer before in the past. Michael Carno is really, really talented and smart, and so he called me and he said, we're trying to create this story for this amazing Jeff, and do you want to come spend a day just
Would you like to meet Jeff?
And I did. I did want to meet him. He was a wonderful scene partner. I have to say, he was it was a practical robot. And
is there somebody inside it, or is there somebody controlling it off to the side? Maybe this is too many secrets.
It's too personal.
This is Jeff's life, and it's not mine to divulge.
There was both.
Right.
He's a lot of robot.
Right.
So it's both, and it was funny logistically because part of the fun was that we wanted to kind of ignore the fact that he's a robot. Everyone's so self-absorbed in LA that they wouldn't even notice it. Wait, there's a 9-foot robot, as my best friend. And so logistically it was difficult to find the right angles to even fit us both in the screen.
Right.
But by the end of the day, we had one day to shoot it. By the end of the day, I felt so attached to him. It was actually really easy to feel a rapport with him. Everybody did some improv. It was really fun. I don't get to do much comedy, so it was.
Did this whet your appetite for more?
Oh yeah, I want more. There's so much more to tell. Jeff is fascinating. There's so much more story there. But it's going to be on Wired's YouTube channel, and there's several different. They're just digital shorts and really fun and make you laugh.
Do you remember having the specific thought or awareness of when you stopped looking at Jeff as like a costume or a construct, and when he just became an actual being to you? Because it's a weird thing. I've done a lot of work with puppets.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You look into their button eyes.
Yes.
And then after a while, they become real eyes to you. You forget that they're buttons. And you're actually relating to them. But I remember when I became aware of it. Like, oh my God, this thing's still a bunch of felt with buttons on it. Did you have that feeling come over you at one point?
I did. There was a specific point. It took a little while. We were new co-stars, and
Yeah.
I had to get to know him. But yeah, by the middle of the day, I do remember one particular scene where it was like, oh wow, you matter to me.
Summer, you matter to a lot of people, and soon to a very special person.
Oh, I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure to chat with you.
You too.
That does it for this edition of Speakeasy. Please join me again next time when my guest will be a different person. Where's Jeff now?
I think he lives in Orange County.
Does he just shut down and then that's it?
I don't know, he's very private.
What we'd like you to do is take a look at some of these these are popular memes on the internet involving animals, photos of animals. I'm gonna show you this picture, and what I would like for you to do is duplicate it as best you possibly can using the actor's instrument, your very own body.